We're live.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Butler, and this is my friend Sheila Brex.
Hi.
She's my partner in crime tonight. It's really great to be here. This is our first time, my first time on Facebook Live. Yep. And, well, your daughter's been on it a lot.
My daughter goes on it a lot, so...
So, yes. I'm not going to lie, we did check with her teenage daughter to find out exactly what we were up to. But just want to give you all a shout out and thank you for being with us tonight. And earlier on, you all sent some really great questions, and I definitely want to dive into those with you and just chat about some of the things that I've been up to in the studio. It's been a really busy time.
Yes.
Lots of cool things going on. We're hopping. We're still smiling. We're hopping. It's good. But it's a really cool time. We just launched my online magazine called Blossom Magazine, and I have some visuals. Let me show you. Let me give a shout out. Let me know if you're here, you guys. Let me know where you're from, too. And feel free to ask questions along the way. Hi, Rita. Thank you for coming. And this is very casual. And so if you've got questions as we go, we'll just, stop and talk about your questions. It's really cool. So here is a visual of Blossom Magazine. It's online only right now, so you can find it through my Facebook page or on my website. You can find the link there. And what Blossom's about, if you're not familiar with it, is it's an inspiration journal. And it's something I started 4 years ago with David. And it started out as a project to try to find a new way to show you ideas with my PDF patterns. And that was kind of the start of the PDF pattern business. And then it kind of literally grew into, oh my God, this is a platform to share all kinds of beautiful inspiration. Hi, thank you, Deb. Deb loves the magazine. And
Hi,
it's just it's literally taken off from there. And I curate the magazine, but it's not about me at all. But it does contain things that I love and I really care about. And so you'll find lots of visual inspiration. It's completely juicy. It's low on copy and lots of inspiring essays. And the spirit of the magazine is about all of us living from our heart, figuring out our purpose, finding our way through our journey where we can express our gifts. And a lot of the essays are people on their journey. And so you really kind of get to travel with them and understand the growth and what they've been through and how they landed in that spot where they're showing the world who they are and sharing their gifts. It's really great. And then there's some wonderful how-to content too, because we're crafty and we love to do that. I'm getting thumbs up. Thank you. Hi, Mariana. Thank you.
She's watching from Spain.
From Spain! Oh my gosh! Yeah, you guys, let me know where you're from. We were wondering how many folks from all over the place we might get. So thank you. Oh, I love you too. And I also have a surprise for you in Blossom on page 141. So if you go to the link, you go into the stories on page 141. There's a free gift for you. So I hope you dive in and check it out. And that's Blossom Magazine.
Blossom.
That's kind of the big... We're still coming off of Blossom, launching Blossom Magazine.
Kind of coming down from the high.
We're coming down from the high.
Or maintaining the high.
And maintaining the high.
Yes,
yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So, she's my sidekick. Yeah. We love each other. So one of the questions that you guys had for me was about my newest fabric collection called Splendor. And I actually have behind Sheila and I a quilt top that my friend Sajada Shah made. Some of you are friends with Sajada too, and she's an incredible quilter. And we sent her a stack of Splendor, and she sent us back this beautiful inspired quilt top. And inside Blossom, I have a lot of beautiful inspiration pages. I'm just going to show you a few here. This is I know the words are backwards, but you can at least see the images. And David Butler lays out every single page of the magazine. So he's a wonderful graphic designer, and everything's built by hand, so that retains its beautiful, beautiful special vibe. So you can see that there. Oh, thank you, Mariana. I love Splendor too. It is one of my favorite collections, and the inspiration behind Splendor is I'm kind of a groovy nature girl, and it's inspired by the power of Mother Nature. And so some of the some of the prints are actually conversational. There's little figures or characters, and when you look at the photo inspirations that we shot with a photo shoot, I really tried to illustrate the story. And our friend Autumn modeled for us, and when you look at the photos, she is totally a goddess, and you get she definitely embodies the vibe of Mother Nature. And I just love all things wild, and of course plants and animals and flowers. And so in terms of the conversational prints in the collection, you'll see the mix of all of those elements kind of woven together to tell the story. And I have a little share here for you. It's 2 color palettes. And you guys might have seen some of this online, but I have the Mystic color palette, which is kind of a yummy, rosy, hot pinky kind of color palette with rooted in a little bit of charcoal and pops of turquoise. And then the Celestial colorway really focuses on turks and navies with a pop of this yummy lemon yellow. Oh, thank you for the hearts. That's wonderful.
I love seeing them go by.
I know, look, seeing everything go by. We're hypnotized by technology, by the way. This is like so fascinating.
I know.
But I have we have a couple samples to show you guys too, if you haven't seen some of the sewn things. Oh, it's kind of a big bag. This is my gypsy sling. Da-da-da!
Nice big bag.
It's a nice big bag.
Holds lots of good stuff.
And this is from the Celestial colorway. When I was talking to you about that yummy lemony yellow pop against the blues and the turquoise, it looks really good. And on the inside, I use one of my complementary prints. It's actually reversible if you don't put the inside pockets in. But Sheila helped me update this pattern too. We added in machine quilting techniques, and also
it's a nice texture here.
Yeah, it adds a beautiful texture, so it kind of gives it a kind of a luxe, kind of a little bit more richer feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
Very sturdy, very durable, and it washes up beautifully if you take the leather straps out.
Yeah, that's
But you can do fabric straps too, because you know me, I like to give you lots of options. And then I have a garment to show you from this collection. This is my Bohemian wrap. It's a little tricky to see it on screen here, but it is from my Peacekeeping patchwork book, and incorporates a little bit of log cabin patchwork down the front of the bodice, and it's trimmed out in my native folk print, which really ends up acting as a beautiful border print and really pulls in the design beautifully. And then I have my bold floral that grounds the whole piece. And if you guys are like me, how many of you like to make garments with quilting fabric? Do I have some garment sewers with me? Oh, Bohemian Wrap Love. Thanks, Deb.
Yay.
Thank you, Elaine. I'm glad you like Mystic. That's one of my favorite colorways, too. But how many of you are garment sewers? Anybody here with me? And so if you do, oh, loose tunics, me too, Jennifer. I love tunics. And you know what? That's a great point, because the tunics are a silhouette that actually complements the quilting fabric. You know, some garments, it's not as good for sewing, but this wrap is really good because it actually, the weight of the fabric's put together gives a little drape too, and tunics are perfect. Oh yes, garments. So it's fun, and when I design my fabric collections, I try to think about all the different ways you could play with the fabric, what you could sew. So bags are a big piece, quilts of course are huge, and then garments as well, the right kind of garments. So oh, sleeveless tunics. Jennifer likes to make sleeveless tunics. Well, we're from Ohio and we're coming into sleeveless tunic season. So
yes, yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Maybe sooner than we think.
Maybe sooner than we think. And then the Mystic color palette.
Here we go.
Oh, this is a patchwork pillow. This is the improv pillow from my Peacekeeping book. It's very comfortable. If we get tired here in the next few minutes, we might, prop ourselves up. But I think you can see this is a fun design. This is a really easy pillow to make, and it really shows off the prints, and you can play with the proportions of what prints you're placing all over the design. But also you can imagine this just turning into a quilt top. If you can take the top of this pillow, it would make a beautiful quilt. Sorry, Sheila.
No problem.
And then,
shout out to Cleveland.
Hey, Cleveland.
Hi, Lori.
Were you warm in Cleveland today, Lori? Yeah? We were like 60 something today, which is kind of amazing. And the red-winged blackbirds have migrated here. Have you been hearing the song?
I have, yes.
So that's a really good sign the spring is here. So this is my Spice Market tote. This is the shorty version. In the pattern, if you're familiar with it, there's also a taller version. And then Sheila and I also updated this pattern with some quilting techniques, leather straps, some different variations. But it's a really great bag for toting your supplies. I just had a girls' craft weekend up in Cleveland with my friend Kim T and Maureen. I think Kim's with us tonight. Are you here, Kim? And I loaded it up with all kinds of stuff. I like more is more. Like I bought all this patchwork stuff. I bought all this jewelry making stuff. Do you guys like cross craft? Do I have cross crafters? I don't know if I'm, have an attention issue, but I like working on different projects in different mediums because that really kind of inspires or informs what I'm working on in somewhere else. Like
yeah.
You do the same thing.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
And then when you get together with your girlfriends, it's
so many interests I like too, and I know you do too. So and dabbling in all of them.
Yeah, totally like weaving it all together. And Larry, Jennifer says yes. Yeah, I know. We all have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the project portion.
That Spice Market comes in a larger size too, if you like to really add a lot of stuff to your bags.
Yes. If you like to tote a lot of things, we have the bags for you.
Yes,
we're toters. So
yes, we are.
So I want to dive into some of your questions. Does anybody want to put any questions up for me?
There was a question earlier.
Let's take a peek here.
I think by... Where'd it go? Oh. I think somebody asked if when you sew with other designers' fabrics, who do you like to sew with?
Oh my gosh, I have such a problem. Here's what happens.
Here we go. Dana.
Dana asks, when you have time to sew with other designers' fabrics, what do you gravitate to? And I'm all over the place. I have a lot of Kay Fassett. I have Anna Maria Horner. I have some of the I have I'm all over the board. I have
you like
I just drew a blank.
Heather Jones.
I do. And I what happens to me is I go into the quilt shops when I go to teach, and we go and break, and they have all these incredibly delicious baskets of pre-cut fabrics laying everywhere, and that's how I end up with the whole Smitten
I think that's more how you gravitate towards.
It's just sort of like a big banquet, and so I end up spending my teacher stipend pretty quickly. Oh, is there another kind of crafter? Do you have a pattern for the laptop sleeves? Oh, we're getting all kinds of... Oh, don't forget your vintage stash. Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. Carrie's with us. Carrie is one of our friends for a long time, and she does a lot of beautiful sewing for us. She puts a lot of our quilts together. So thank you for being with us, Carrie. Cotton and steel.
Yes.
Allison Glass. I'm all over the place. Basically, I have a lot of fabrics by designers. I don't even know who made them. I just literally go and grab.
Yes.
So, you do too, and vintage remnants. So, I'm sure many of you are like me. You like to flea market or go antiquing. And matter of fact, I was in the south of France a year and a half ago teaching. And a lot of our time, I was on the Kari Meng retreat that she hosts every year. And we do a lot of vintage shopping at the Bracants and the flea markets. And I brought home a ton of vintage needle points, which is something I've not really ever possessed that much of, except I have a few of my grandmother's pieces. And so it was one of those situations where I kept running into them all over the place, and I brought them home. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with them. And then once home, I kept flea marketing and bringing more in, and so I had the stash. And so I have a story on Blossom on repurposing the needle points, and ended up making some really great jewelry and some awesome clutches and a wonderful tote bag. And so that's something that you can find in Blossom magazine too. I have a really great story on that. So yeah, the vintage stash is huge, and that's how I started. That's where a lot of my inspiration comes from for my fabric designs. And I grew up in a family with my mother and my grandmother are both artists. My grandmother's passed, but my mom is with me. And that's how we decorated our home. That's how we found the raw materials to sew and patchwork. And we did macrame. We did all kinds of crafts. And the old things, the found things were a big part of how I grew up, and I know that's why that is something that I gravitate to now. Really, is how Dave and I put our home together too. And so you'll see flavors of that in my photography and in the stuff that I make, and definitely in my fabric designs. Let's see what we've got here. I was going to ask about the needlepoint. This is from Deb, and she said, I bought the pattern that uses the needlepoint pieces in bags and jewelry. I must find the vintage pieces. So you have the PDF, so now you're just ready for the vintage pieces. You know, another great place is you could go to thrift stores. Thrift stores are great, and if you have tag sales or garage sales where you live, especially that season is starting up, that's an awesome place to find old textiles and notions and cool materials. The other thing about the needlepoint too is, as a base in and of itself, it's beautiful, but it's also something that you can really embellish. If I like to bead, do any of you like to, do hand beading and some embroidery work? You can actually go into these old needlepoints and like add a few layers to them and make them really kind of luscious.
Definitely. Somebody had a good question.
Oh, great. Okay.
Do you try and sew every day?
Oh, do I try to sew every day? I had a promise to sew every morning before I did anything else, and I've kind of stepped away from that a little bit, and I need to get back to it, but I was sewing every day for a long time. I've been doing a lot of hand piecing, and I started that out of necessity. We just bought a lake cottage in Tennessee, David and I, and it's actually called Jade House. And it's a 1967 A-frame, and it's 6.5 hours each way back and forth to the cottage. And I just started throwing in scraps of fabric, and I just started hand piecing in the car, and I almost have enough pieces for a quilt top. And so I do a lot of that in the morning too before I get started, and that I try to talk Sheila into like not getting some of our other deadlines done, and then we just have sewing days. So we've got sewing days on the books planned where we just play and just make.
Yeah,
and so
that's what makes it work.
That's what makes it work.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Do you guys have sewing practice for yourselves? Does anybody want to talk about your sewing practice? I think it's really interesting when you find out how everybody navigates time in your life. Time is an important commodity, and how you, hi, Jennifer's here. Hi, Jennifer. And I think that's one thing that really seats me in being an artist, and that's the energy I want to bring into my studio every day, and then that kind of imbues all the other things that we do throughout the day. And Sheila and I both multitask, doing a lot of things in the studio here, between creative and then, taking care of the business side of things too, which earlier on, it used to stress me out, and now I'm like, it's just something else to be creative with. And we're also designing, the way I'm designing studio life and the quality of life, and making the things that matter a priority every day. I actually write a little heart priority list down before I start my day, and I write a daily design, in my journal, and just kind of pre-pave the way for the kind of day that I want to have and who I want to be in my day. And Lori said hi, Lori Schroeder. She said, I have a business, a bohemian seamstress.
Oh, cool.
Indeed. And Denise Stewart says, I love to garden in the summer, but I cut myself off to go and sew by 2 until dusk on the weekends. Oh my gosh. That's like reading a good book.
Yeah, that is. That is.
Good for you, Denise.
That sounds like a wonderful day.
That is a wonderful day.
Sewing.
That is a wonderful day.
Yes.
One of the questions that you guys had sent in earlier was you wanted to find out where do I find my inspiration, and how do I find inspiration for my collections. And it's really great because I've, over the years, it's just sort of, how I describe it is, you stockpile inspiration when you see it or experience it. So travel, creative books, beautiful magazines, conversations with my creative friends, time in the studio, playing with materials. It all just sort of informs the ideas and keeps the creative juices flowing. And sometimes a particular travel event or trip or something will specifically inspire the inspiration behind a collection. For example, my Soul Blossoms collection a few years ago. Do you guys, anybody remember Soul Blossoms? That was one of my favorites. And it was definitely inspired by my trip to India. And so the designs and the stories that I was weaving with the prints definitely came from that physical experience of going to India. And then my latest collection, for example, Splendor, is more of a pulling of more of an emotional inspiration about how I feel about nature and life in general, and just putting together the right prints that start to weave a little bit of an imaginary story. So sometimes it's very specific and direct. Almost always I'm weaving some sort of imaginary inspiration into the story behind the collection. And that's what helps me focus on the kind of prints that I want to put together. And I think in the end too, when I go to the next step of getting my fabrics to sew with and making samples or coming up with ideas, then that storyline is carried all the way through, and the things that I get to make and play with, like, oh, I should make this because it feels like that, and this would really inspire someone to make something similar from the vein of what the story is about. And then, to the photography and things that we shoot to try to illustrate that story. So, I think we're big fleshy computers with all kinds of beautiful inspiration going through our brains. And I think the creative process, just the sitting down for me, building color palettes and doing collage work and getting those creative juices going, just starts to pull the inspiration out of my subconscious. When we really give ourselves the time to be quiet and set time aside for ourselves, I think all that stuff has the ability to come to the surface. Not counting colorways, but how many designs do you generally have in a collection?
Good question.
That's great. For a quilting collection, the fabric company Free Spirit that are hosting us tonight. Thank you, Free Spirit. I forgot to thank Free Spirit. Oh my God, that's why we're here.
Yes.
So, but Free Spirit gives us guidance as designers, and right now they like the size of our quilting collections to be 24 prints total. And if you look at how all the different designers handle getting the creative ideas across in 24 prints, some of us will take 8 prints, core designs, and then color them 3 different ways. So then you get the 3 color palettes. Or from time to time, like I did with Splendor, I'll put 12 prints in 2 colorways to fill out a few more prints, or repeat a couple of the more tonal prints to give you as a sewist more creative opportunities with different basic prints to weave in a bigger story with a quilt or a specific direction for a quilt colorway. Elaine says nature's a wonderful way to come up with ideas and projects. Can't get more beautiful than nature.
Agreed.
Amen.
Agreed.
For sure. So I can tell we probably have a lot of gardeners here too.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Lots of flower love.
Lots of flower love. And Kim, our friend Kim Matee is here with us.
Yes,
hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Oh, I wish we could see you. We love you too. Kim is she is the reason why I had a creative weekend. Went up to see Kim and play this weekend. That was really great.
Yes. Another creative.
Yes.
Here's a good one from Lori.
So Lori asks, yes, and what hurdles do you run into? So with design or there's so many different things. Hurdles. Let's talk about design and hurdles, because sometimes it takes me a little while to get going with a colorway. And so what the process I work through is I have my base designs once I settle on the graphics and the illustrations that I'm working with. And then I have those kind of in my mind on my inspiration board. And then I actually build out the color palettes through collage. And then once I have my palettes all figured out, then it's time to sit down and start doing my colorings. And the way I work is I don't work on the computer, so I actually have a light table, and I take my designs and I line them up on the box, and I use marker paper and markers, and I do color studies. So I match markers as closely as I can to my palette chips, and then I kind of move the colors around together as if, I guess if it was in Photoshop, that would be much easier if I learned Photoshop. But I love the hands-on feeling, and the markers are faster than painting everything, so it just gives me quick studies on how to combine the colors and play with different ideas of how I can change around the colors within a particular palette. But sometimes I get stuck on how to visualize colors in different places, and sometimes it takes me a little while, and I have to get up and go get a cup of tea, or I have to go for a walk, or maybe change gears for a little while and then come back down to my design table and start working again, or I'll move to another print and come back to that one. So in terms of design, it's just sort of being gentle with myself, giving myself space, and I know when I need to sit down and get down to business, it's all going to come forward, and I just shift gears and come back and forth as I need to. with design and your brand. So Lori asks, with design and my brand, so hurdles with my brand. And, it's what I do creatively in my brand and my life is it's just all integrated, and I feel like how I'm growing as a person and how I'm learning to perceive challenges as opportunities has really completely shifted my perspective on hurdles in general. And, I've come to the point of realizing that a hurdle or a challenge is that friction or that contrast that if I let go and I leave myself open to reinterpret it with a fresh take and not look at it as something as like, oh my God, this is something that's terrible. I'm not going to get through this. How am I going to deal with this? To, oh, this is, getting curious. Like, oh, so this is actually bringing me a new opportunity. I just can't see it yet. Mm-hmm. So I just have to work my way through it and stay open and be flexible and be keen to see the directional guidance that comes with when I let go, I get answers and information, and then I actually, on the other side of a challenge, I've grown and I've made way better decisions, and it's created opportunities that I didn't even know were there. And in the past, I used to cling like, oh my God, no, this is how I do it. It's linear, it's black and white. I take this step, I do this step, I do this step. And you can imagine trying to have that amount of control completely kills the creative process.
Right.
So, as human beings, you get to the point where like, well, I'm tired of suffering and I'm tired of struggling and there's got to be a better way. And so just life coaching, introspective self-searching, trial and error with myself and making choices about who I am as a person is completely evolving and taking my brand to the next level, and my whole pleasure in enjoying what I'm doing to levels I couldn't even imagine. So it's just sort of staying open and being flexible. And this one knows firsthand. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome watching you go through the creative process, though. I mean, just from start to finish, and seeing how much it grows, and just the excitement around it. And and I didn't know that about your drawing and your light board and all of the work with the colors that you do. So I think it's pretty.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean,
really
the other key piece is being honest about where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like we actually have a promise with each other to, like, if I'm struggling or if Sheila's struggling, mm-hmm. we come to each other like, look, I've got a roadblock with this. I just need a breather. I'm going to come back to this, but I know it's going to come together. Instead of sitting balled up in anxiety or worry or fear or something. And so it just makes everything like really cool and
so much smoother.
It's smooth, and Sheila's been with me a long time, and we've been working out a lot of processes together, and we both have the same goals.
Yeah.
All right, so Kimity, you rock, Amy Butler, always inspiring. Thank you, honey. Edith Mint's with us. Hi, Edith.
Hi, Edith.
Edith's from Renaissance Ribbons.
Yes, somebody was talking about the ribbons a little bit ago.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I was rattling.
They.
Good. Oh, thank you for all the hearts, you beautiful people.
Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer asked, I was just thinking of adding your ribbon to a pair of jeans I have that are a little short. Ooh, that's very smart.
Very smart.
Very smart. We use, you have that little bracelet from that Creative Bug how-to.
Yeah.
We like to use ribbons for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right, Aditi? So this is actually a cool project from our friends at Creative Bug. They did a little Amy Butler how-to. I got it. Yeah, it's really great, you guys. Just taking the ribbon, and putting a little button on one side. This is a piece of wool felt, and just literally hand stitching. The ribbon is finished on the edges because it's so beautifully made. You guys are familiar with Renaissance quality. And then you just literally just do a little hand sewing and tack it under, on the end. And then this is a really nice piece of soft leather that you knot, which actually is a nice decorative quality. And there you go. Voila. That's another way. You can make a ribbon cuff to go with your ribbon edge jeans.
Yes.
That would be,
that'd be
dynamite.
Cool. Yeah,
that would be dynamite.
Also, you can shorten your jeans in using the ribbon to finish the edge off the bottom. So when you have short legs.
Yes.
Long legs. Like this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else.
What else we have, you guys? Edith says, let's reveal we will do the Splendor ribbons too. Totally gorgeous. Yes. So I shared with you a little bit my Splendor fabrics. Adit and I have Splendor ribbons in the works too. We're going to be releasing those.
Yeah.
Spring quilt market. So I want to tell you guys a couple of things before we close. Oh my God, it went too fast.
It went way too fast.
First of all, if you have more questions that I haven't answered, I would love to keep answering your questions. So keep posting them here, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to answer your questions, and maybe over the course of the next couple weeks, I'll be posting answers for you guys. So keep them coming. If things come up or there's something that I haven't touched on that you'd like me to address, I would love to do that for you. If you're coming to QuiltCon this weekend, there all day Saturday the 25th, I have a free demo at 11 a.m. Is anybody coming?
Okay.
I'm going to do a color palette demo for 30 minutes. So come and see me, and I'm at the Free Spirit booth 5:45 from 2 to 3. So if we didn't get a chance to connect here and you're at QuiltCon, I'd love to meet you. I guess our time is up, you guys. I don't really want to let you go.
Yeah, I know. This is fun.
It went too fast. Should we'll have another one. We've got to continue the conversation. Oh, Jennifer wants to know where I'm going to travel this year. Okay, so
you do have a couple good places.
We have a couple good places before we close. I'm going to France in April to the Nantes Quilting Festival. I'm going to be there for the entire festival. Dave and I are going to have a stand. So if you're from France and you're anywhere near, come and see us. Then in October, my friend Val Wells, who you guys know is a fabulous artist, and she and I are teaching a block printing weekend retreat on the Metolius River in the most beautiful area. She and I went there together 2 years ago was when we started scheming this whole retreat, and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And so it's the combination of this gorgeous location and then all the making, and we're going to do drawing, and we're going to do block printing, and we're going to do some sewing with your block printing and some handwork and English paper piecing. So it's going to be pretty amazing balls.
Yeah. Very beautiful place.
Yeah, very beautiful place.
Very inspirational.
All right, kiddos. All right. I guess we better let you go. Sending you love from me and Sheila.
And me.
From Ohio, and thank you, Free Spirit. We love you too, you guys.
Thank you.
I got goosebumps.
For all your good support and love.
Yeah,
we love you.
You're really, really an amazing group of people, and all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. We love you guys, and we'll be in touch soon. Okay. All right. Bye.
Peace out.
Mwah.
Bye.